All right, and we are live. You're here with the Huddle Review on the Huddle Review, exclusively on the chain. This is Jeff. We have got, man, this has been like nonstop. We can't stop now because there is so much stuff going on. What is up, Jeff Rome? Good to see you here. Got a lot of people on with us today. We are going to get into this case even further. Every single day, there's just so much to talk about. SEC versus Ripple. Today, I want to give a thank you shout out to Jay Clayton, because if it wasn't for Jay Clayton, we wouldn't all be gathering here today to go through all of this, and we wouldn't have been doing this over the past number of days. But there's more news today because Coinbase has announced that it will also be suspending XRP with another host of other exchanges going on as well. There is just, man, this, I'm fired up. I'm looking over here at the Fiat leak. We're going to check that out, and we're going to start right now. All right, who is ready? Who's ready to go through this stuff? Because I saw that Connie, she jumped in here. She's been waiting for 30 minutes for us to get kicked off. And then we've got Metal Bum is on here, Richard Flairman, all sorts of people jumping in that I've never seen before in the chats. It's awesome when we see new people bouncing into the chat. New Sunnit, John Byrne, Wen Mullet, never seen Wen Mullet before. What is going on, Wen Mullet? We got Luna Alpha, and we got our buddy all the way from Ireland, Darcy, #1 in the stream, even though, Darcy, you're like, buried, 10 deep over here. But what is up? What's going on? So check this out, right? Every time we're streaming, we always try to bring up this Fiat leak, because Fiat leak is showing you the moves, what's going on. Normally the trades, get this, normally the trades in XRP are around 3 million in a minute. Get ready for this. You ready? Here we go. Let's pull it up, because we've got, not only is XRP sitting there at 22 cents, not only are we seeing XRP trade volumes moving between the US, flooding into Europe, flooding into Korea, flooding into Japan. The last time we pulled up the Fiat leak, we saw steady streams of trades going into the US and in Korea. 13 million, 13.3, 13.5 million trades in the past minute. 13 million. Now, we're not talking about all buys, because there's buys and sells, but 13 million of them. This is crazy. So now we're seeing more momentum going on within this space with XRP than ever before. People are either getting nervous and bailing out of XRP, or they're getting all fired up and they're bailing into XRP. Because the one thing that we know for certain is that regardless of this SEC case, we have SEC versus Ripple, and regardless of the outcome of that case, the XRP digital asset over in Korea, Japan, in Europe is okay. Why? Because the UK has already determined that Ripple is not a security. Japan has already determined that, Japan has already determined XRP is not a security. Same in Korea. Same in many other countries. So it's only the US. This is really going to bog down the US and could potentially have a major impact on the US business for Ripple at this point, only because Ripple is building their aspiration on their ODL platform with the XRP digital asset on the XRP ledger. Now consider that most of the volume of trades of cross-border remittance payments that they've been involved with is pretty much all over the world. And the thing is, the whole phenomenon of the Swift platform that's been around since the 70s is a global phenomenon. It's not just between the US and every other part of the world. So we have to take that in consideration. But check this out. It's changing. Now it's 12 million trades in the past minute. 22 cents right now on the XRP. I saw this drop down to 25. I don't know. I'm fired up. I like seeing the movement. But to me, at the end of the day, and we've dug into this, we've looked at this case from so many different angles, and we're going to get into it even further right now. But we're going to go through. Jay Clayton, did he do this space a favor by bringing Ripple in front of court now, bringing suit SEC against Ripple? Is the timing perfect right now? Because one of the things that Brian Brooks promised was regulatory clarity sometime around the end of January, beginning of February. That is our expectation. I expect to see full regulatory clarity of the digital asset space here in the U.S. By the end of January, beginning of February, definitely in the beginning of Q1. It's needed. It has to happen. So Jay Clayton, big shout out. Thank you for that. But thank you for creating hours and hours of fodder content so we have something to talk about. And also just, I don't know if you guys noticed, the lighting seems, really nice over here. I got brand new LED lights. They seem to be working pretty well. They're pretty bright. I might have to start wearing sunglasses. And then I'm also playing around with the pro version of this platform that we use. And apparently this whole time we haven't been streaming in 1080p. So I'm coming to you guys from 1080p. It should be nice and high def at this point. But check this out. We got so many people, jumping in on here. So we've got, and yes, we're going to have, a lot of conversation. We're going to talk about, Coinbase notifying us, haven't they done anything? And I'll show you what they did notify, who let the bulls out, Ralph Raymond, what is going on? We've got, let's see, David Lopez, just going from bottom up. Look at that. Ripple's going to win this lawsuit easy. Edward, what is happening? Good to see you on. Ronald Cantella. And we got just tons and tons of conversation going on in here. Let's see who else we got going here. Let's see. Connell, XRP will be relisted, and then it's going to be 10 times to 100 times. There you go, Connell. So let's see. Let's dig in. Let's talk about this a little bit further. Merker coming all the way from Periscope. There's another platform that's going to be shutting down pretty soon, which is Periscope. Twitter is killing Periscope. So just stay tuned for that. So here we go. Tons of activity over here on the fiat leak. But one thing that I wanted to start out with, I think that it's kind of an important opening to the conversation. Before we get into Coinbase, we're going to read the blog post from Coinbase and look exactly at what they were talking about when they're referring to a suspension. They're not talking about a delisting. They're talking about a suspension. And there's multiple platforms like Bitstamp, suspension. Many of the others are suspending, what's going, the trades right now. Why do they have a suspension? Why Coinbase? We'll get into that in a minute. What is up, Channing? Channing was with us last night. Where's Channing? There you are. Let's go. Let's go. All right. So here we go. So I'm going to pull this article up. I think this is important. The timing of things, do you believe in coincidences? I just don't believe that there's such thing as a coincidence, but the timing of articles, the timing of these statements, here's a big one. I'm going to drag this over onto this screen here, and then we're going to go through it. I'm seeing a little bit of a lag delay on my side, but that's okay. Here we go. We'll pull this up here just so you can kind of see it a little bit. And I think sometimes when I pull things up on this monitor is when we get a little bit of a delay. Typically from Fiat Leak. So I am going to shut down Fiat Leak for the time being because that is definitely a major drain on resources. So all right. So can you guys see this? Yep. I keep lagging. I don't know. Is it me that's video lagging? Let me drag this over here. Let's do this here. Hang on a second. Nope. Oh, that's the other one. Anyhow. All right, let's start with this article. Then we're going to go into the other article. So this is, a perfect starting point. So, I think we all saw this, but here is what Jay Clayton caused as a starting, right? So this whole idea of Jay Clayton just going after Ripple has much more ramifications. So here, Jay Clayton's last day at the SEC resulted in $50 billion cryptocurrency crash. That was a couple days ago, obviously. This was on Thursday. It was crazy, right? So that's a major impact that this guy has. This little statement, hey, we're going to sue, the SEC is going to sue Ripple. And then the entire space goes through some major sell-off. But that's not really, the point of what I wanted to bring up. I want to focus on this article here that came up on Yahoo Finance. Let me get rid of this ad because it's annoying. So this just popped up on Saturday, so a couple days ago. I thought it's super relevant for the conversation that we're having right now. And why is it relevant? Because you have the Russian central bank making a statement that SWIFT will be made redundant by digital currencies. So is it just any digital currency, or is it possible that Russia is also dabbling in working with organizations like Ripple? Maybe they're using the Ripple ODL, maybe they're using RippleNet, but they're looking at technologies that are going to make SWIFT irrelevant in the grander scheme of things when it comes to these ads keep popping up everywhere. When it comes to transferring money across border. So this is actually a little bit annoying looking over at this screen right now. But check this out. So you have here, given the pace of development of central bank currencies, several countries may launch one in the next 5 to 7 years. Right. So let me open this up a little bit further for you guys, and you can kind of see what we're looking at here. So another statement here, then we can deal with direct integration issues. In this case, SWIFT, it may not be necessary because it will be a different kind of technological interaction. So again, this is the head of the Central Bank of Russia, the first deputy governor. He's talking about this. Here it says, obviously, we all know SWIFT is just a messaging network that banks and other financial institutions are using to transmit information. That's a little redundant that they're saying that. But here you have more than 10,000 financial institutions in countries all over the world are using SWIFT. If you've ever had the opportunity to use SWIFT, if you've ever done an international transaction, you know that it can take 3 to 5 to 7 days for full settlement. And if there's one error in the messaging, then everything gets sent back. And I can't tell you how many times I've been involved in a transaction and there was an error somewhere, and all of a sudden in the middle of the transaction, things get paused. Now, Russia understands that. So Russia here, look at this. Russia would likely welcome replacements for SWIFT, as the nation's bank have threatened with being removed from the network as part of a broader sanction. So obviously they have an ulterior motive as to why they want to leave SWIFT, but their statement is that digital currencies may make SWIFT redundant. Now, obviously, in order for a digital currency to make it redundant, you also have to have an accepted, transparent, efficient solution that is going to allow for the transaction and movement of these digital assets between countries. So I thought that was just extremely kind of a relevant point to start with, because the timing isn't coincidental that the deputy deputy minister or whatever, deputy governor of the Central Bank of Russia is coming out with a statement talking about how SWIFT is going to become irrelevant. Now, the other point here is that Brad Garlinghouse from Ripple has been talking about now for about a month, if not longer, that without regulatory clarity, it's very difficult for them to really exist in the US any longer. So he makes that statement, says maybe we should start looking outside of the US for offices. Maybe Moscow is a location for a headquarters. I don't know. They were talking about possibly over in the UK and London, maybe over in Dubai. Why not Moscow? I don't know. Maybe it's regulatory friendly. Maybe not. I don't know. Russia was very antagonistic when it comes to digital asset. Maybe they're waking up a little bit to seeing the realities of what's happening on the ground. But the timing is extremely relevant to what's happening. Because one of the things that we are seeing here is the technology is needed. It's identified at the banking level as a very relevant and significant technology. So I thought that was a really good starting point. And then we're going to get into some of these other things that we're talking about, like Coinbase. Coinbase going into a suspension mode when it comes to XRP. And there are some articles here that I thought were interesting that came out today. They were talking about the potential impact of XRP being delisted or suspended. And then we're going to look at what's going on in other parts of the world, because as things are occurring here in the U.S., they're not so significant. They don't have the same relevancy when we're looking in other parts of the world, like in Japan. And so we're going to look at a statement from SBI that actually has to do with Japan. And so the bank over there, way over in Japan, actually having a very clear statement as it has to do with XRP. And so we'll get into that here in a second. Let me get rid of that tab. Okay, so Coinbase, we can go over there. Let me turn to the chat. Let me see what we got going in here, and let's see if we can engage a little bit here. So let's see. The mark, this isn't good. It's only going to get worse very soon. Things sometimes get a little bit more difficult before they get better. Mohammed, let's see what you had to say. Can you put up a chart on the screen? What's that? Can you put a chart up on the screen? Dude only got one screen. What? I don't understand what you're saying. Using multiple monitors over here. So, all right. Anyhow, let's see what we got going here. Just going through some of the comments that were flying by. See, oh, here we go. BitBuy in Canada sent an email saying that they will not be delisting XRP. Canada, probably a good thing that they're not going to be delisting. And we're seeing the same thing over in Japan and many of the other places. So here we go. Back to Mohammed. Real question. Why does a bit of news from one country affect the entire world? Something is fishy. So Mohammed, that's interesting that you brought that up. But the news being that, the U.S. is really considered the hub of a lot of the trade that goes on in the world, also a center of the technological development. So there's always a lot of focus on what is going to happen in the U.S. when it comes to regulation, because many times other countries around the world are looking to see what the U.S. does first before they will then follow in the same footsteps. However, to your point, which I think is very, very relevant and valid, is that in this scenario with XRP, regardless of what happens with Ripple at this point, so the SEC can come after Ripple and say, hey, you overstepped your boundaries and XRP is actually a security. However, as we go around the world, as we're mentioning, Japan, England, and other parts of the world, they've already given their judgment, and they've stated that XRP is in fact not a security. So if you want to look at case precedent based on how other countries have really ruled or deemed the XRP digital asset, they have deemed it a non-security. So does the U.S. at that point also have to rule on it as a non-security? My opinion, I believe they have to. They either, if they rule it, if they decide in this court case, as all the facts get laid out and they look at the evidence that's being presented by Ripple, and somehow the court sides on the side of the SEC and says, in fact, that it is a security, although it doesn't really meet the smell test, it doesn't meet the Howey test of being a security, it's an interesting dynamic. That's why I feel fairly confident at this point that it will be ruled a non-security. Again, you don't have to look that far. You just have to look at other countries that have gone through a process and have declared it a non-security. I think that's a really important point here. But the other item here, what we brought up yesterday, is that does the SEC really want to have a cause of action that is potentially going to cause direct harm to Ripple, the organization, but also cause direct harm to the development of this technology in the United States? And it will be impactful not just for Ripple and XRP, but it's impactful for hundreds of other companies potentially. and it's going to be impactful for jobs in the U.S. and the economics here in the U.S. But the other part that the SEC may or may not be considering, because the SEC comes out, hey, they claim to be on the side of the retail investor. They're doing what they're doing to protect the retail investor, but are they really? And that's a big question that I think many are going to have to ask, and especially when it goes in front of the judge to say, SEC, were you really acting in the interest of these investors that have bought into and have been holding XRP for many, many years? What is the differentiator? Why is XRP any different than Bitcoin or Ethereum when the SEC has come out and made the claim that Bitcoin and Ethereum are not securities? So why are they portraying favoritism? And so you have to kind of delve into that conversation. What are the strings that are being pulled that would have Jay Clayton believe that Bitcoin and Ethereum are not securities? What is it that led him to that conclusion? So there's a lot of real valid questions that have to be asked when trying to really identify, the cause here. Now, what happens when the court decides that in fact XRP is not a security? But what about damages to investors that decided to sell their digital asset holdings potentially at a loss due to the news of the SEC filing suit against Ripple? What is the aftermath? And unfortunately, in many cases, the SEC, like other government agencies, are very narrowly focused on their own cause without any consideration of the individuals. So if individuals are losing money, that is kind of a byproduct of their case, of their action. I guess they look at it like it's collateral damage. Like in a war zone scenario, there's always going to be collateral damage, which are typically civilians. So in this scenario, you could see that the civilians are the collateral damage because they're caught in between the government entity and the corporation. The corporation's mission throughout this entire period of time, which has been extremely transparent and forthright with how they present their financials right from the beginning, even the fact that they have a lobbyist arm that's in Washington lobbying and educating congressional representatives and their teams on the adoption of digital asset and pushing for regulatory clarity. So in fact, you could say that this case is being brought at this point, maybe because of Ripple pushing, for some normalcy in the space and educating some of the representatives in Washington. So, all right. Hey, Jeff Rome, big news over there. The House did approve that bump in stimulus from 600 to 2,000. Kind of expected. Yesterday, late at night, we saw that come forward. The president did sign off on it. It was almost expected at that point. Today was just a formality for them to bump that up, and they were almost obligated at that point to do so. So, all right, there's just a ton. We can go back. You guys are having a great conversation here. Marcos, I'm thinking of trading my holdings to Bitcoin, even at a loss, or Ethereum. You got to do what you're comfortable with doing. You have to do your own research. You have to do your own research and invest the way you are comfortable investing in. I think it's really important for everybody. Don't gravitate or look for somebody else to answer your question in terms of where you're putting your money. You want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence to get the information and research as much as you can before you make any kind of decisions. That's really the best advice that I can give. Never giving financial advice and never claiming to. So, all right. So let's go in. We're going to dig into Coinbase a little bit, and then we'll dig through a little further. How does Coinbase know that a settlement or court hearing won't take place before the 9th? And it's really the 19th. So, all right. So let's pull this up. There were two things that came up. Oh, look at that reset right there. Perfect. All right. Chip, hey, streaming in 1080p, high def. Trialing it here. So, all right, let's pull this up. I'm going to use, all right, first we're going to let's start with this one. We're going to have to, switch through a few different screens here, but we're going to go through, you guys can't see it. All right, so this was a Twitter post from 2 hours ago. So this news is fresh off the press from 6:30 p.m. today, where the Coinbase has actually made a statement on what they're going to do. So they have actually decided that XRP books will be moved to limit only, and Coinbase will actually fully suspend, not delist, but suspend trading in XRP on Tuesday, January 19th, 2021 at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. So, that's noon Central time, 11 Mountain Standard Time, for all those, just to cover the bases here. So, all right. But, so they did come out with that statement. I think that that's important, that we look at, what is it that they are actually getting into here? Where is it? Here we go. This is their blog. Here we go. Found their blog. Okay. So Coinbase will suspend trading in XRP on January 19th. Now, the question is, why January 19th? We have other exchanges that are suspending trade now. Bitstamp has issued a statement that they're suspending trade now. Why is Coinbase waiting? So, so January 19th, big statement. They are moving, it looks like, to limit only. I don't know if that's immediate. So let's dig in here. Let's see what they're actually referencing. What are they really discussing here? Now, one thing that we have to note before we even get into any of this stuff is that Coinbase has submitted for their IPO. So the fact that they are pursuing an IPO also puts them in a position where they really need to, even before that, regardless of an IPO, they have to operate very much within the lines. They can't operate outside the lines. If the SEC is pulling, it has a direct case, against Ripple, impacting XRP, that could definitely have a direct, impact on Coinbase. So again, Coinbase filing for their IPO, they can't be in process of launching their IPO only to be found that they're trading an unregistered security. They're not going to do it, even though they feel confident. Let's say they're extremely confident that the case is going to go in favor of Ripple. They still have to pull back and have a show for the SEC as they're launching their IPO that, in fact, they are operating within the guidelines and they're suspending trade. Again, January 19th, we'll dig into that here in a little bit. Let's see here. Dot column. Let's see. January 19th falls in line with Brian Brooks' prediction of regulatory clarity in 4 to 6 weeks. A very good point. Very good observation on that. That's a point that I was going to bring up as well. I think that that's, very well stated. Thank you for saying that, Doc. I think that that's very, very critical, because the other thing is, again, if we're not going to believe in the idea of all these coincidental occurrences just happening out of the blue, just, all of a sudden, Coinbase is doing this, the SEC is doing this. They're all, all these things are kind of happening within, if you look at the bigger scope, you pull back, just as we were talking about Russia a little while ago, and the governor of the I forgot his title, whatever his title was, from the Central Bank of Russia, talking about how SWIFT could very likely become irrelevant and be replaced by digital currencies. And then he talked about the need for the cross-border payments, and really, again, focused in on the Ripple technology. And there's a few others out there like R3 and Stellar and others that are developing in this direction of moving money between countries. The timing of all of these things, a little coincidental. Okay, so Brian Brooks, I think this is a very, very important observation, because when he talked about regulatory clarity, he said, I am very confident that we are going to have regulatory clarity in 4 to 6 weeks. That was a couple weeks ago. So this does put us towards the end of January. Now, the case gets brought all of a sudden, very shortly thereafter. The one thing that I've discussed previously, if you were with us on a previous live stream, is that the SEC cannot clearly rule and provide working with, let's say, with Brian Brooks and others to create regulatory clarity when you have this unknown variable of XRP potentially being a security or non-security. Ripple wouldn't want discussion occurring and decisions being made outside of the fact that would then impact and give them no option for proving their case. So in this scenario, you bring about a court case like this, it is now becomes the rule. It becomes the rule of law unless it gets overturned, by another judge. This becomes the rule that a lot of other digital assets are going to then be measured against. So we have the Howey test. Are they then going to, we talked about this on a previous live stream, multiple people came up, is there going to be such a thing as a Ripple test? It could very likely become the test for all other digital assets moving forward, which is the case of SEC versus Ripple, SEC versus Brad Garlinghouse. The outcome of that case then is being utilized as a measurement for all other digital assets moving forward, all other companies moving forward. The fact that they're going after Ripple is extremely important as well, being that XRP has highlighted they can't go after Bitcoin. How are they going to sue Bitcoin? Can't happen. They can't go after Ethereum. It would be a little bit difficult. I mean, they could, a little bit difficult. You go after Ripple because it is making big waves in the space, especially since it's going after Swift, especially since Ripple is working with financial institutions, especially since they're working with banks. The government, the banks, and the financial institutions have a lot of stake together. So we talked about this, earlier on yesterday, and we're also, referencing the fact, I made a video on that earlier today, the banks moving into this space, occupying what Ripple is actually working on and not wanting the retail in this space, the retail investors. So that's a whole different conversation, but all these conversations are all ongoing and going on, they're occurring at this exact moment. So, all right, and going back to this. So Coinbase is putting, this is Illy, Coinbase is putting some kind of pressure on the SEC and Ripple, I think. They're supposed to make a decision or find an agreement more quickly. I'm not sure if Coinbase can put pressure on the SEC and Ripple, but I do believe, as we were talking about before, that that Coinbase has to operate within certain guidance, considering that they're getting ready to launch an IPO and they have to be very, very, very clear on what they're doing. So, all right, where's the tab here? So Coinbase will suspend trading in XRP on January 19th. This is a 2-minute read. We're not going to read the whole thing. But this comes from Paul Gruel, Chief Legal Officer from Coinbase. So obviously, we put a little bit of thought into what's happening, what they're doing, why they're suspending. And it comes right out in the beginning. And in light of the SEC's lawsuit against Ripple, we've made the decision to suspend the XRP trading pairs on our platform. Trading will move into limit only starting December 28th. I'm assuming that limit only, they're taking away market buys starting, today's the 28th. It started already and will be fully suspended on Tuesday, January 19th at 10 a.m. We mentioned that before based on what we saw on Twitter. We will provide additional updates, if any, through Coinbase support on their Twitter account. So I think there's some very important parts here. Number one, it's a suspension. It's not a delisting. Number two, the trading suspension will not affect their customer access to XRP wallets, which brings up a whole nother conversation, another point that we might want to even focus in on here would be for those that keep their digital assets on a ledger. Do you feel more confident at this point, if you've moved some of your assets around and you've put them on Coinbase or Uphold or Bitstamp, wherever, do you at this point feel more comfortable pulling back your digital assets and keeping them on the ledger just in case, something else externally happens? At this point, Coinbase is referencing that the movement from your wallets will actually be okay, because it's not, the trading suspension will not affect a customer's access to their XRP wallets, which will remain available for deposit and withdraw functionality after the trading suspension. So for Coinbase's perspective, all they know is that they're planning on suspending purchase of XRP starting January 19th. Up until that point, it's going to be limit only. Even after that, you will still be able to move, deposit onto Coinbase and withdraw from Coinbase. Now, there's obviously some question here if XRP is deemed to be a security. Can that have an impact on the Flare token that is being airdropped? So now, I haven't seen anything. I don't believe that there'll be any impact on the Spark token, because it has nothing relevant really to do with XRP other than it's being launched, in parallel with and built on in partial, interoperable between the XRP ledger and the Ethereum network, and et cetera, et cetera. Kind of go into a much deeper conversation, but to keep it basic. So Coinbase here is really referencing, will you still be able to get the airdrop? So the snapshot had already been taken. I think it was already last Friday. The snapshot was taken of the XRP holdings at that point. They accounted for all the different wallets. They know exactly how much is now going to be distributed to each individual. 15% of the amount that you will be getting of the Spark token will be airdropped at some point during Q1 and Q2. So they don't know yet, but that's what they stated. And then the rest of that balance, the other 85%, will be distributed over a period of 24 to 35 months. So as it stands right now, what Coinbase is stating is that no, it will not impact that at all, as far as allowing it on their platform, subject to approval in certain jurisdictions. So obviously, there's certain jurisdictions that it wasn't approved anyways. Now they said they'll continue to support XRP on Coinbase custody and Coinbase wallet. They don't plan on stopping the support. Now think about Coinbase, I believe, is still operating globally. So that means that there's global entities, individuals that are holding the digital asset XRP, and they're going to want to be able to move it on and off. Same thing for individuals in the US. So I think this is really important. Now, some of this statement here, it's very legalese, but again, consider that that Coinbase is in the process of preparing everything for their IPO, and they can't operate in any way that could potentially damage their the IPO launch. So Coinbase remains committed to being the most trusted platform for trading cryptocurrency. Okay, that's their mission statement. We strive to provide our customers with access to a broad set of assets, all of which are evaluated against our digital asset framework, blah, 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 and they kind of go on and on. But here, so this again becomes very legal. So you evaluating against the digital asset framework to assess factors like security, compliance, and the project's alignment with our mission of creating an open financial system for the world. Okay, so obviously they made their statement. They haven't issued anything beyond that, other than, again, they're looking at a suspension of the XRP asset starting January 19th. So, all right. Wow, I missed a lot of conversation here. Daniel over here, I'm keeping my huge XRP bag for at least 10 years. Here we go. If you sell your XRP, you'll regret it. Here's someone else. Leonard, XRP should be at 0. So you get all sorts of comments. Will there be a countersuit? And I was bringing that up a little earlier. The countersuit, and I find this interesting, is that here again you have an action by the SEC in an effort to protect the retail investor, yet they don't consider the damages to the retail investor. So how can you how can you kind of navigate this discrepancy that there will potentially be many retail investors that are going to act as it pertains to this case that's being filed by the SEC. However, at the same time, this had to happen, right? We have this court case. One of the things that we look at as it pertains to the technology that Ripple has been unfurling over a number of years is RippleNet. The biggest element, the biggest game changer of RippleNet, as we were talking about with Russia. What did Russia identify? Russia identified that cryptocurrency, that digital currencies are going to disrupt SWIFT. Now, Ripple had already obviously identified that back in 2012 as they started building this technology out. But the game changer part of their solution isn't the fact that they're just competing with SWIFT, because the messaging component of Ripple. So what? Are they doing it a little bit better than SWIFT? Yes, but is that enough to pull clients away from SWIFT? Is it enough to pull banks that have been embedded with SWIFT for the past 40, 50 years? Probably not. It's probably not enough. So ODL, the on-demand liquidity, is the game changer solution that Ripple has. Obviously, the banks know it. Obviously, the government knows it. Everybody that's involved in this case at this point, they understand. You have to believe that they understand the significance of the action that they're bringing against Ripple. Ripple understands it very well, but the thing that's been holding back much of this space is the fact that in the US, we have a lack of regulatory clarity, and regulatory clarity is needed to move on. But we can keep going back onto this, but it's amazing. It's amazing. So here we go. Okay, I'm going through. I know I missed some of the real good conversation here. XRP maximalist. Retail investors get the shaft. XRP is worthless. We'll see what happens. Yep. So here we got USDC runs on Stellar. XLM is the stable option right now. It's interesting that XLM isn't being, there's no case. However, imagine if the court case, SEC versus Ripple, turns out that XRP is deemed a security, that will have a direct impact on XLM. It'll have a direct impact on many other digital assets that are in the space, and they could evaporate over, many of them could evaporate overnight. Just how just the possibility. So obviously a lot going on here, but the impact is major, and again, across all digital asset. So, all right. Appreciate that, Connell. Really appreciate that. Hey, if you guys, a lot of new people in the stream, if you haven't done so already, make sure you take a look below, hit that subscribe button, sub to the channel, hit that little bell notifier. I know that if I don't hit the bell notification many times, I don't get notified when a video posts or when our live stream posts. We also have another channel, so you might want to go check that out. It's in the description below. We post some short form video that could be anywhere from 5 minutes to 25 minutes. And I think Chip posted a video today that was about 25 minutes over there as well. So, all right. So now all this conversation, and we're kind of navigating and trying to figure this thing out. Hang on a second. We're trying to figure this thing out, and we're looking at the U.S. and we're looking and saying, okay, in the U.S. space, what is the most significance here? Because the SEC is going after Ripple. Is the U.S. the center of the universe? Because we do know that other countries have already decided that this isn't the case. So now we need to find, where's my article here? Here we go. Okay. So this came from SBI Holdings directly. Let me see if I can open this up. It's going to be a little bit hard to read though. Let's see if we can find it. I think this is really critical to look at because it's directly from SBI as it relates to XRP not being a security. Now, this was in Japanese, so I had to translate it with a little translate button over here into English. Sometimes the language doesn't translate 100%. So so we're gonna have some fun going through this. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. Even if I bring it up large like that, maybe you can read it, maybe you can't. If you can't, then that's okay. But what we'll do, let me go through this here. Let me put myself on the screen. You guys aren't going to want to. We're not going to read through the whole thing, anyways. We're going to read little snippets. We're going to read through the important snippets. But I find it's interesting. So this is a letter regarding the proceedings against Ripple by the SEC. To Ripple Labs, Blood Garlinghouse, obviously Brad Garlinghouse, hereinafter Ripple, which is our business partner and develops and provides next generation payment infrastructure utilizing blockchain technology. A lawsuit has been filed by the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. However, in the column, U.S. SEC that sued Ripple by Mr. Osaki, a fellow of Nomura Research Institute, this is their statement here, and they come right out in the beginning. First paragraph, XRP is widely traded by crypto asset exchange companies in Japan. But under Japanese law, XRP is a cryptocurrency asset under the fund settlement law, and it is not applicable to securities under the Financial Instruments and Exchange Act. So it's critical that they immediately come out here, and he's making his statement. This is SBI over in Japan, again, one of the biggest partners in that area for Ripple, coming out with a major statement on the law in Japan, the law on the books. And it says here, it would require the submission of a security notification form to the Financial Service Agency for offering or sale. It can be said that it has been done. This point will not be affected by the proceedings between the SEC and Ripple. So it's very, very important that their statement is that nothing will change the law in Japan. The law is on the books that XRP is a crypto asset and it is not a security. So as it's been deemed a cryptocurrency asset under the fund settlement law, it's not even applicable to being a security. And he's saying that nothing is going to change this. So, as mentioned in the note, XRP will continue to trade on cryptocurrency exchanges registered as cryptocurrency exchange companies as cryptocurrency assets rather than securities in Japan. And so, that's it. Obviously, things can change, but at this point in time, I think it's very, very relevant, as we're looking at this global phenomenon that is digital asset, that is XRP. That's coming from SBI, and that's coming, directly from the laws over in Japan. So again, we can be very, very, focused on what happens in the U.S. because the U.S. bears a lot of significance, especially if you're in the U.S. and you're investing in the U.S. So, I think it's very, very important. So here you go. You've got SBI CEO has never lost. That's Steve Willits, and that's true. The SBI CEO is on top of his game. He knows his, he's very, very actively involved in this space from a financial perspective. The guy knows what he's talking about. That's the point. All right. So Jake from State, I'm holding from zero to hero. So let's see what we got here. Definitely, if you guys are in here brand new in the space, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit a thumbs up. That definitely helps. If you really want to help on the chain, you want to help us with all of this, get out there and share it. That would be awesome. You can share it on Twitter. You can share it on your Facebook. You can share it on by email. You can even text it to your friends. So, all right. Let's see. Here we go. Chris, all the other countries are using the XRP utility because it shows proof of work as a digital currency asset to perform overboard digital transactions. Lots of amazing, a lot of amazing things here. So, Facebook. Yeah, there we go, Connie. Nice. All right. Let's see what we got here. Here we go. Michael Dobson. 80% of the business and sales for XRP and Ripple comes from the rest of the world. The ban in the US won't kill it. Actually, it will empower it with clarity. Michael, that's a huge statement. That's super meaningful, especially, as we take a look at, let's pull it up here again. Let's just take a look and see where we're at since we first started this thing. When we started streaming at 8 o'clock, we were looking at XRP and we were seeing, XRP kind of going a little bit parabolic in terms of trades per minute. Right now, it's sitting at 23 cents. 23. Whoops, that's not it. That's the wrong screen. What good is that screen if you guys can't see it? There we go. Second monitor. All right. So we've got XRP now trading at 23 cents. When we first started, it was going nuts, right? An hour ago, you had trades going to Korea. You had trades going to Japan. You had trades going over to Europe. We had trades going into the US. Right now, we're at 6.4 million trades per minute. An hour ago, we were around like 13 million trades per minute. And there you go again. So now you've got trades flowing all over the place. So you've got people in other parts of the world that are saying, hey, guys, in the US, if you want to bail out of your XRP, that's perfectly fine, because we're over here, loading up. And that seems to be the case of what's going on in Europe and Japan and Korea. Now, Japan, SBI made that big statement. We just saw that massive statement from the CEO of SBI. Hey, it's still legal in Japan. We're not talking about a security in Japan, just you guys over in the US making bad decisions. Maybe you guys don't want to do that. Maybe you guys want to make the right decision and actually bring things, to some, positives here. Let me see here. Yeah, I want to give a quick shout out. I saw a few. Here we go. Metho Nelson. 1 penny XRP is how billionaires are made. Appreciate the support, Metho Nelson. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean that's a strong statement right there. Got a lot happening in this space, and then I'm gonna have a statement on that here in a second. Also want to say thank you to Doc Collum. Doc, you're awesome. Been a long time supporter of ours. Outstanding. Definitely. Thank you for that support. And there are over 900 people in here right now. We've got 941 people, 970 people in the stream right now. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We have so much more great content. We're going to keep digging in as we go through the week over this court case and look at, there's a lot, there's so much more to cover, on this. So let's see here. Oh, so one thing I wanted to make a statement of, and I think this is really critical, because right now we're at this juncture with this digital asset, but it doesn't matter. It could be any digital asset. It could be stock. It could be anything. Make sure when you're investing and you're taking money out of your pocket, hard-earned money, you're taking out of your pocket, you definitely want to make sure that you're protecting yourself financially, meaning don't overdo it. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose, because there's always a risk with any investment that you take, whether it's a digital asset, a stock, or otherwise. Right now, obviously, there's some big opportunities, and those big opportunities, could be really great. If you're putting that, we're seeing the XRP right now hovering at 23 cents, even though 3 weeks ago it was hovering at 24 cents as it had been, very stable at that point. right now at 23. Does a pullback further? I don't know. I don't think we know where this is going to go. But if at the end of this SEC case, it comes out that the resolution is that XRP is not a security, just imagine where the valuation is going to go. I believe it's going to go way up. Why? Because FOMO. The entire space is going to go up. We're seeing Bitcoin hitting all-time highs almost every single day. It pulls back, goes up, pulls back, goes up. It's about to hit that $30,000 mark. If it keeps going, it keeps going. I mean, it's crazy. Big shout out to Organic FUD. Thank you very much for your support. Really, really appreciate it. The company is named Ripple, and this shockwave is felt through the entire industry. Exactly. Ripple is rippling. So, yeah, there are ripples all over the place. Also, a big shout out to DNI. I think, all of a sudden DNI pops in. Why? Because Jake of State comes out and says, anyone have any idea why the IMF would list a registered security to be used worldwide in their policymaker toolkit, or list an unregistered security to be used worldwide? And that's a good question. If that's the case, if that's what they're planning, then DNI pops in because he heard IMF, and that's like his bat signal. And DNI is, swoops in with the comment on the IMF. On the chain live, the U.S. is only one of 200 countries, folks. 90% of Ripple customers are outside the U.S. So very well said. That's spot on. DNI, spot on. Exactly. There are 200 countries out there. The U.S. is just one of them. The U.S. is obviously a very important country. It's definitely important to me because this is where I live. But in the grander scheme of things, when it comes to the digital asset space, now remember, the digital asset space is a global phenomenon that's being accepted globally, worldwide, because all over the world, people are accepting the fact that these digital currencies are valuable, that they have value, and they're trading them, and they're buying them, they're selling them, they're holding them, they're waiting for the appreciation of value. People have agreed that Bitcoin is now a store of value. That is the global consensus. People believe that Ethereum is valuable. People believe that XRP is valuable. It doesn't just happen in one country. It's a global phenomenon. All over the world, governments, financial institutions, and individuals are talking about the significance of the digital asset space and the direction the digital asset space is moving in. This is why it's so significant. This is why this court case right now is also extremely significant, because this could potentially be a make or break scenario. And I don't believe that we're in a position right now where the SEC is just going to all of a sudden indiscriminately decide that they are going to destroy the opportunities in the U.S. For the U.S. to have a leadership role in the digital asset space. So I saw another support pop through here. Want to give a shout out to Reg Mabry. Appreciate the support. Thanks for being here with us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't subbed yet. This is a modern day inquisition by the SEC. This is detrimental. It really is. I mean, this is, it really is crazy. But again, is this so, was it really unexpected, by Ripple? Ripple has been preparing for this now for a long time. Ripple did hire. Now think back, if you guys remember the Token Taxonomy Act that had been rolled out by Congressman Warren Davidson and Congressman Darren Soto in Orlando, Warren Davidson up in Ohio. They were the co-authors of the Token Taxonomy Act. The Token Taxonomy Act was to bring about some sort of regulatory clarity and some normalcy as it pertained to the digital asset space. Now, this is important because the individual that worked for Warren Davidson, one of the key architects of the Token Taxonomy Act bill, was hired by Ripple to be a government outreach back to congressional representatives and their teams and their staff and other important, significant members of government that are influential, his primary job was to educate and lobby and bring about regulatory clarity. So Ripple has been actively involved in this process for a couple years. Remember that Brad Garlinghouse has been meeting with all of the bigwigs, around the world. So a lot of these things have been orchestrated and planned out. Now they're trying to target him on this. Is it unexpected, or is this whole thing planned and just meant to play itself out? Because this court case will bring about a resolution as to what a security in the crypto space is or isn't. And again, if you try to apply the Howey test, which is really one of the more basic tests to use when applying and trying to determine if something is a security or not, then you're talking about oranges and orange groves and things like that. And that is also very, very important. But now when you have a digital asset that, or a company with a digital asset involved in their project, and you bring them to court and you can have an outcome to that case, and if this outcome then is, again, not a security, it changes everything. It really does. So a lot of comments here. Ronco, I have an idea. Coinbase said the 19th. I think on the 18th, XRP will be lower than now. Let's all buy more on the 18th. I think there's going to be a lot of buys and sells. It's going to be interesting. XRP will never have FOMO again. Stop hyping it. It's irresponsible. Yeah. So, I don't know what, the statement there is actually, will XRP have FOMO again? I think that's really, it's irrelevant, because the digital asset space has FOMO. Stocks have FOMO. So when you look at it, if you sit down and you watch, what's that guy's name? Kramer. I don't know what channel he's on, whatever channel he's on, CNBC or whatever. So Jim Cramer, by the time Jim Cramer is talking about a stock, he's hyping the stock and creating FOMO to buy. If he's not hyping the stock, he's creating FUD to sell. But by the time he's talking about the stock, it's already too late. It's done. By the time you read about it in most newspapers, the opportunity is gone. The individuals that are selling their bags for big profit are selling them to the retail investors that become the bag holders. And the longer you wait, the bigger bag holder you are. And that's FOMO. So FOMO exists regardless if it's XRP, regardless if it's Bitcoin, or regardless if it's an Amazon or a Google stock. FOMO and FUD exist across the board, and it's just a common function within the investment space. So to say you're hyping it, not hyping it, responsible, irresponsible, becomes kind of irrelevant, because that is the reality that exists across the board. Now, if you're going to say and put a price valuation or price prediction on something, that's a different situation, because in that case, you're hyping something that may or may not be true. Now, you could have your own belief that this digital asset is going to hit a certain amount up or down. That's your belief. That is how your own research, everything that you see around you, you're taking that with you to have that, somehow you come to that decision. That's different. But again, if you're going to price predict and put that number out there and say this is 100% going to happen on the 18th, is 100% going to happen come February 1st or whatever, I mean, that's definitely irresponsible. So there was something else here. Oh, let me see here. Let's see. Lot. It's so many comments here. It's crazy. Here we go. So what's the time frame of the case? That's a good question. I don't know. I think it's to me, I'm not a lawyer, but I look at the case, I say Ripple's laid it out. SBI has laid it out. The UK has already determined it's not a security. Japan has deemed it a non-security. All these countries have deemed XRP a non-security. How far do they have to look as the judge is going to look and say, okay, these guys decided that way, these guys decided that way. This has been going on for They're talking about 7 years ago, so they've potentially gone outside, of the allotted time frame to even bring suit, from 2013. But then a judge is also going to say, hey, you know what? Ripple's been around since 2012. Yes, they did start selling some digital asset back in 2013, but 7 years. I mean, if you thought it was a security, why didn't you bring suit in 2014? Why didn't you bring it in 2013? Why did you wait 7 years to bring suit? It doesn't really make any sense. Why now? Why now is a really big question to try to really identify. So let's see. Channing, Kick bounced back by 2000. Kick was sued by the SEC. They kind of lost, kind of won, but you could see where their valuation ended up. Steve Willits, too many verticals for the escrow to go to one organization. That's another interesting point on the escrow. Hang on here. There's something I'm trying to find it. Wow, these just kind of flew by. It's hard to try with a StreamYard. Hard to find what I'm looking for. Let me see. There it is. All right. Hey, I just want to. Here we go. All right. Mitho, I want to give you a quick shout out again. Thank you for your support on this. But I tell you, Howie must be enjoying his 15 minutes of fame these days. Howie has been around a long time, since about 1946. The case was settled, SEC versus Farmer Howie. And the Howie test came about after that to be used for every to determine whether or not the investment that was given was a security or not, non-security, and if it was unregistered, et cetera, et cetera. So they used that case. Really interesting case because it was an orange farm. But anyhow, running out of water. All right, let me just grab a little bit more water here. And then this whole time I've been looking at the fiat leak over here. 23 cents. It's holding. Let's pull that up there. 23 cents. When we started the stream, it was 22 cents. Still a lot of activity. Just, it's crazy. We were enamored by this beforehand. When we logged in an hour ago, a little over an hour ago, we're at 13 million trades in that minute. Right now, it's hovering around 5 million. So let's see here. We've got another one here. Another big supporter here, Reg Mabry. Thank you for your support again. Case timeline, 30 to 60 days. Ripple files answer. Affirmative defenses and 12B6 motion to dismiss SEC case. There we go. So 30 to 60 days. Does that put us right around the timeline? So let's say 30 days. That could then put us potentially around the timeline for regulatory clarity, and just after the 19th. Maybe they'll rush this thing through and we'll see, some amazing things come about. Yep. And there you go, right from our own On the Chain Live. Yep. So good stuff. Good stuff. Let's see, what else do we have here? I like this statement right here. Suspended on the 19th and clarity on the 20th. That's even better. Let's suspend everything on the 19th and let's get regulatory on the regulatory clarity on the 20th. And the 20th is going to be a big day for many other reasons. But maybe this is all meant to be. Everything is going to be lining up, for a reason. So here we go. Let's see. Ferdy, what is going on? All courts are closed till January the 19th. That's right. Close the courts. Don't open them. Can open them on the 19th, and then good luck. Let's Here we go. We got Steve Willits over here. Good day, Chip. Jeff is not typing while he's talking. No, yeah. See, hands off. I'm thinking the typing. So lots and lots here. All right. Awesome. The flare drop, Paul. Yeah, we talked a little bit about the flare drop earlier on. There was a question about that, and we also brought it up in regards to what was going on with Coinbase. They made a statement on the fact that they will still, the Spark token will still drop, as planned, which is going to be what is up, Peru, man. I'll keep talking about that here in a second, Paul. But where'd he go? Oh, it's gone. There he is. I haven't seen Peru jump in here in a long time, but what's up? Good to see you on. So anyhow, yeah, so the Spark token, Coinbase, as far as Coinbase is concerned, they're still going to, it's nothing, and nothing is going to impact the Spark drop, which will start sometime in Q1 or Q2 of 2021. And then you're getting 15% of what's owed, what's due. And then after that, you have 24 to 35 months distribution for the balance of it. So you can wait around a little bit. However, someone, Smiley, January 6th, Spark will start trading on one exchange. Plus, I've heard there's a lot of IOU trading going on. We were just talking about this yesterday. Now I forget what country it was, in India. They were saying that Spark, or the Spark token, IOUs are trading in India at $2.30. I don't know. That's something Crypto Eddie had talked about, and then we brought that up, and we're trying to clarify that. And I thought that was really, really interesting. So, what's it? I can't drive while you're drinking. What? Here we go. Here's man, lots of great comments. We can all learn so much stuff, from each other here. January with Brian Brooks with the new registration. XRP is on the top of his list. I mean, that's definitely a distinct possibility. So we've got Brian Brooks. There's so much going on, Michael. Appreciate that comment. Yeah, just tons and tons going on. So, wow. All right. Oh, you know what? I did have a few other things that I was going to go through here. Went over Japan. So now the thing is, it seems like the SEC is just going on like this whirlwind of destruction here. So, all right, let me see here. Oh, I appreciate that. Hey, look at this. I'm going to start pulling things up, and I'm not going to have to click them anymore. It's going to be awesome. Coinbase Pro have now stopped market trades in the UK, even though the FSA here have classed XRP a commodity currency. So yeah, they're doing, and I think Coinbase, they're doing it on a global basis based on that statement that they issued, that everything is now going to be limit orders, no more market orders, and that started at what was it, 12:30 p.m. Pacific time, or it was earlier than that, whatever. No, it's 2:30 p.m. So 5:30, it's already done. Whatever it is, it's over and done with. So, and Don is, stating again, XRP is a cryptocurrency asset and is not a security in Japan. Exactly. So check this out. So now, as we are looking at, and I think this is really interesting, the SEC is definitely, not silent. The SEC is definitely going after more than one entity as it pertains to the digital asset space. I'm trying to find. Oh, so here we have, the U.S. crypto exchange OKCoin is suspending XRP trading and deposits. So let me close the fiat leak here for a minute. So U.S. crypto exchange OKCoin is suspending XRP trading and deposits on January 4th until further notice. So they're not even allowing deposits of XRP. I would assume they're allowing withdrawals, but I've never visited the OKCoin exchange, so don't know anything about it, honestly. But other than they are suspending, not delisting, suspending. So I think that's really important. Valen, will Americans be able to use decentralized exchanges to trade if it does become a security? I mean, that's a huge question. That's something I think we need to cover, I want to make sure that we answer that question the right way. I don't know exactly what the answer is. What happens when something is determined to be a security? Well, I do know, but what I don't know is what happens when you're holding the asset of something that becomes a security, if you're forced to sell it or not, because it's not, again, XRP is global, so it's not just here in the US. So, but buying and selling and trading non-securities, I think, is problematic, but I definitely want to look into that in more depth and make sure whatever we say here is very specific without saying something incorrect. Let me get rid of this, get rid of this. Okay, this is, oh, here we go. So there's another one. I thought that this, again, the timing of things, why now? Very coincidental. However, again, no such thing as a coincidence that all these things are happening around the same time. But the SEC seems to be very, very active, very, very active when it comes to the digital assets and other exchanges. So this one here, the SEC obtains emergency asset freeze against a crypto hedge fund based on fraud allegations. So now all of a sudden, the SEC, for the most part, seems to have been relatively quiet for the past years. People have been pushing and pushing and pushing and saying, we want regulatory clarity. We need some sort of feedback from the SEC. We need some feedback from FinCEN. We need some feedback, and we need to know what's going on in this space. We need some feedback from Congress to pass a bill for some normalcy and regulatory clarity. And it just kind of felt like just dead. There was just, not enough noise coming back. But now all of a sudden, so if we look at this, I thought was interesting just to look at, because of the timing of it, the fact that the SEC again is being extremely active, going after multiple, and there were a few others that I was going to pull up, but this one I thought was interesting, mainly because Virtual Capital manages $100 million in assets and was accepting investors for a waiting list. Now, check this. This is the part that got me the most. 100 million in assets. I mean, this is a crazy amount that they're managing. Now, the founder of the company 4 years ago, the guy was 19 years old. I mean, talk about, he's either brilliant or maybe he was defrauding investors. I don't know. But that's what the SEC claims. The fund's owner, Stefan Kin, has been knowingly defrauding investors of the Sigma Fund using the investment proceeds for personal purposes or for other undisclosed high-risk investments. Wow. I mean, that's a massive case right there. Take that down like some of the others, but holy cow. I mean, this just shows all of a sudden, the SEC is on their game and they're really going after. I mean, that to me is just like, wow. I mean, just crazy. Just really, really crazy. Look at this. Mick374, whoops, over 400 million payment transactions showing up on XRP Ledger. Wow, those are some big movements right there. A lot going on. A lot going on. So let's see here. Hey, Chip, if you see anything, throw them up here. They're going by a little fast. Trying to catch them as they go by. But on the chain, so Litecoin is now eyeing number 4 spot on CoinMarketCap. Never thought Litecoin just blasting off. I mean, it's amazing to see the digital asset space finally gaining some momentum since the beginning of 2018. 2 years it's been in a downward spiral kind of, and then just flattened out. It's like, flatlined, and the activity that we're starting to see now is amazing. Really amazing. I remember all or most delisted Theta a few years ago when I was in at 5 cents. So I had to sell. Now you can buy it everywhere, and it just topped out 175. It's all a show. And so here, and this goes back to, the orchestration of these financial institutions. So typically, and it kills me because if you look at an IPO, and they talked about there was a number of big IPOs that launched recently, and they always say, oh, the IPO was so far beyond what the expectation was, and when it peaks, there's always a major peak and then it peaks again, and those are all the retail investors. When they finally get in, it's too late. Buying an IPO at launch as a retail investor, it's always too late. Why? Because you have all the accredited investors and you have all the financials. All the big institutions have already bought in pre-IPO and are making a killing as they ride the wave. They can ride it up as far as they ride it up and selling off. And then the bag holders, and then you always see the IPOs drop. And it's amazing to me. It happens time and time again. And something like that, again, is it going to happen with XRP? It's going to be crazy because, if they declare it to be a security, or if it comes up, are they going to try to make it, make sure that retail investors do not hold the XRP until they regulate it the way they want to regulate it? I mean, so let's say it is a security. Now you have to go through the process, but it doesn't impact anybody else in other parts of the world. It only impacts people in the US. So who gets penalized? So who is the SEC really protecting in that case? What if USDT gets banned at the same time XRP is declared a currency? This could literally happen at the same time. The market cap in BTC will have to go somewhere. I mean, the market cap of Bitcoin is going crazy right now. When you see Michael Saylor from MicroStrategy put in over $1 billion into Bitcoin, and you're starting to see more and more financial investment in that space. Now they're talking about financial institutions getting into Ethereum in 2021. They're pushing those digital assets to the next level. Maybe there's a reason why they're pulling this XRP aside and going through this case to get some final, conclusion as to whether or not it's a security or not. So Steve Willits, after the spark count, the coincidence are unbelievable. Someone crunched the numbers. I'm sure. Oh yeah, someone definitely crunched the numbers. They saw that happen, and then all of a sudden, boom, right? I mean, even though, I believe that this court case, again, has been developed and is a long time coming. I don't think they all of a sudden woke up in the morning and said, hey, let's sue. I think, again, long time coming. Jeff, can you say something about OCC versus SEC? How about OTC? OCC is coming with a statement and SEC is suing. Oh, it gets so confusing. And then we can look at FinCEN because, they come out and said that XRP was not a security, that in fact, XRP is a currency. So there's actually, there's already a little bit of attention even within the U.S., within the U.S. Entities. So I think that, yes, Brian Brooks is coming out pushing for regulatory clarity, but the SEC has the authority over determining something as a security or not. So if that's what their statement's going to be, against Ripple, that's the case. That's why they brought it. So, and I could be completely off base with that, and who knows what's going on behind the scenes, but I had no intention of selling anytime in the near future. So I'm trying to just not look at it. There you go. You only lose money if you sell. Great point. And I look at the same thing. You go into this, I was talking to a good buddy of mine. He said, just keep me posted. Let me know when it goes lower. But the thing is, you get into it at this point, if it's deemed a security, hey, there's a good chance that you go to zero. I don't know. I don't know what the outcome is going to be. If you're in another country, it doesn't matter. In the US, that's a possibility. I mean, but when I got into the space, I already saw that as a possibility. I put money in there. That money that went into the digital asset space was gone. As soon as that went in there, it's as though the money never existed anymore. And that's how you kind of have to think about it. And you have to make sure that you balance your life with that investment because you don't want to put yourself in a negative predicament. So No matter how long this suit takes to be rectified, it won't matter. If we're in a bull or bear market, XRP will increase in value. There's a good chance it will. There really is. There we go. Hey, thank you. Chi-Town XRP. One thing is certain, SEC is guilty of stifling innovation from the US. Man, I agree 100% with that. Unless it's all part of the plan, clarity XRP to the moon. Yeah, so if it's part of the plan, yes. However, the government has tripped over themselves to not provide clarity, stifling innovation. So they've already stifled innovation somewhat. They could stifle it a lot more, but yeah, if it's part of the plan, it's the most amazing plan they've ever come up with, and everyone's going to be, Jay Clayton is going to be invited to every single XRP meetup from this point until the guy's, walking around with a walker. He's going to be the hero of the XRP community, I'm sure. Elite in China pushing Bitcoin and Ethereum, shut down any opposition. Exactly what communism does: shut down any opposition and slander them. Interesting. That's a really interesting statement. I thought a lot about that. And yeah, the really interesting statement about what that could possibly mean and where the control of both Bitcoin and Ethereum rest. Where, which country controls the majority of the mining operation, or the miners, the technology that's actually being used to mine. What country is manufacturing the mining equipment? I wouldn't buy that mining equipment. I don't know. I wouldn't trust it. That's my opinion. And I can back that up as to why, but why would you? It doesn't make any sense. I just, if you want to build a miner, build it, but buying it, from a country that, I don't. Anyhow, what is that? Hakan, wonder why SCB in Thailand changed from partner with Ripple and XRP to partner with Stellar XLM. Did they know something? I don't know if they knew something, but I believe that they were just looking for, technology-wise, partner-wise. Maybe there's a lot of different reasons why they decided to work with Stellar. Maybe it fit more into their model. So, O'Keel Codrington, what is going on? Good to see you here. I feel hella selfish for hoping that XRP price experiences a temporary significant drop, man. O'Keel, I believe there's a lot of people that are in that same predicament, saying, hey, pull back. That's awesome. And there are a lot of options. So anyhow, we're 960 people in the stream. We've been going almost an hour and a half. That's crazy time. I'm going to take this last one, but just want to remind everyone, if you're brand new here, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notifier, because I know when I subscribe to channels, I don't get notified unless I hit the notification. And then I wonder, like lately, I'm not getting any notifications, and I have to go back through and I'm looking at the guys I'm sub to, and it's kind of crazy. I don't know. YouTube plays around with their algorithms sometimes. So make sure, we definitely appreciate all of you guys here. This is our second live stream today. Chip streamed earlier today. It was outstanding. What an awesome stream he had. And he had Jungle Inc. on. He had a call in. So anyhow, XRP chance. If this is all part of the plan, it should be over pretty quickly. But if it's not part of the plan, this could run on for years, still holding no matter how long it takes. There you go. I love that. That's an ending. I love that as a perfect finale, for today's stream. You guys are awesome. Today, I don't even know what today is, but today is Monday. I believe Chip will be streaming again tomorrow. I'm going to try to get on and do another stream tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Either way, 100% guaranteed we will be streaming Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We typically stream 3 days a week. Looks like we're expanding that a little bit because we have the opportunity to, and there's a lot of information that needs to be dissected and talked about. Wednesday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Sunday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Chip will be streaming tomorrow right here on the chain, XRP Minute at noon Eastern Standard Time. Check everything out in the description below. Check out the other channel. 2 great videos dropped today. I think you guys are going to want to see them. You guys are outstanding. And that's it, I think.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.
Thank you all. You guys are awesome. We'll see you on the next one.